Hey y'all, Paul, Kilo Juliet 5 Golf, Kilo out here in a beautiful park today. But today's video is going to be something a little different. Today's going to be a video that's going to be the first, and I hope a series of about 3 or 4 videos on POTA gear for the beginning portable operator. What I think the beginner needs to focus on to be successful as a POTA operator. Why don't y'all come along? So I came to this idea, after thinking, I've been getting questions from subscribers to my YouTube channel about, I'm thinking about getting into POTA, or I've never done POTA. I've been a ham for years, but I want to get into POTA, which I'm thrilled to hear about. Or it's the new operator that says, I just got my ticket and I'm excited about doing POTA, but I just don't know where to start or what I need. I did my first POTA activate. Let's back up just a little bit. I got my ticket, my original technician's ticket, in May of 2024. Immediately followed up and got my general a couple of weeks later. And then I got my extra ticket, I think in March of this year of 2025. I did my first POTA activation in October of 2024. So I've been into the POTA game, as you want to say it, for a little less than a year, about 10.5 months, I guess. And of course, I've evolved and learned quite a bit. In fact, if you want to see how much I've evolved, go look at my YouTube channel and go back to the very first video that I posted of my first ever activation. It's quite comical. But anyway, in terms of gear and that kind of thing, I've learned a lot and evolved as well. And so I just thought, after 140 activations, over almost 11,000 parks on the air QSOs, I think I've been in 50 different parks in 7 states. I've got a little bit of experience. Now, I'm no Kilo Echo 8 Papa Zulu November, the king. No, and that's not me. I'm just a guy that found a hobby that I fall in love with and that I'm passionate about, and I thought it was time to maybe share that with some of these folks that have been asking these questions. What do I need? How do I get started? So let's talk about that today, and today we're going to start with antennas. Okay, so what I've done is kind of laid out kind of the history of my antenna evolution over the last, say, 10.5 months. So I thought I'd walk through the various antennas that I've used in my portable operations and that I still use today in many cases, and talk about the pros and cons and advantages, disadvantages to each, and then we'll end up with a conclusion at the end, I hope. So let me start over here. The first antenna that I ever bought was this beautiful thing right here. This is the Buddy Stick Pro from Buddy Pole, and it is it's a fabulous antenna. I'll post, I don't recall off the top of my head the current price of the Buddy Stick Pro, but it's not cheap, but it's also a fantastically well-made antenna that is extremely versatile. This is an antenna that can get you on multiple bands, uses a loading coil, and it puts together real easy. It's very easy to put together. I've done videos on the Buddy Pole and or the Buddy Stick, and it's just a fabulous antenna. This is where I started. This was the first antenna that I ever purchased. Now, obviously, if you're new to the hobby, one of the things you've learned is that there's 2 ways to come about antennas. One is to purchase them. One is to build them. And building them can be actually building everything from the balun or the unun, the matching unit, to cutting the wire, to putting it all together and wrapping the toroids and all that kind of stuff. Or you can do like me and purchase parts of your antennas and then put them together, or you can purchase complete antenna kits. My background was nothing close to electronics or IT or anything of that. I was an insurance guy. So when I retired, I didn't know anything about ham radio, didn't know anything about electronics. I had to learn it all, and I'm still learning every day because I don't know near enough, but I'm still trying to learn. So let's talk about what my next antenna was. Where did I go after the Buddy Pole? So the next antenna that I went to after the Buddy Pole, thanks to Walt, K4OGO, Salty Walt. Thanks to Salty Walt, I started with a 41-foot random wire antenna, and then immediately went to the 71-foot random wire antenna. Now, when I was running these, I was using my FT710 that has a built-in tuner. You know, with a random wire antenna, obviously you have to have a tuner to tune it. I will say the Yaesu FT710 internal tuner was more than capable of getting a good match on both of those random wire antennas. I did tons of park activations with that 71-foot random wire. I've done a video on that as well. I'll link it above. Super antenna. I mean, it really performs well, no doubt about it. It's a great performer. The key there, though, is that you have to have a tuner. So it's not a resonant antenna. It's not resonant on any bands, and you have to have a tuner to get the right match to make your radio happy. So then, where do we go from there? So the next iteration was an end-fed half-wave. So this is the end-fed half-wave that I first started using. It's a 40-20-15-10. I bought this thing, I think, on Etsy from Ham Radio Fan, I think is the store that I bought it from. It cost me about $75 or so. This little end-fed actually works fantastically. I mean, it really does. It's a great end-fed. The wire on it is not the best. It tends to bend and crinkle a little bit, but the performance on this thing was fantastic. So for $75, a heck of a good purchase. And I ran that end-fed for quite a few activations and had tremendous success with it. So no complaints about that end-fed half-wave at all. So what else do we have here? We got a lot, so let's take a look. So next stop is vertical antennas. So the first vertical that I got was this little jewel right here. This is the Gable Antennas. Gable Radio, I think, is the company name. Their little tripod with an SO239 connector with an MFJ. I think it's a 1979 17-foot MFJ whip. On top of it is what I have there. Now Gable obviously has their own whip as well, and there's other things. And then I've got connectors here for banana plugs, receivers for radials, and it's a handy, well-made tripod. And the MFJ 1979 whip is a good whip. It does not. I don't prefer the MFJ at this point to this vertical, and this is what I currently run in my vertical, which is the Wolf River Coils 12-inch tripod, which is this here. It comes with the hub, the feed point hub, 3 12-inch aluminum legs, and then I've got the Chameleon SS17 whip that rides on top. And then underneath, you'll notice that I've got two things here. I've got radials. These are cut for 20 meters. They're 17-foot radials. I love yellow. Y'all have seen my videos. You know I like yellow radials. And this is the EMP or Faraday cloth. Just got it from Amazon. I think it runs about 16, 18 bucks. My preferred setup, and you've seen it in recent videos, is to put the Wolf River coils just parasitically sitting on top of the EMP cloth. No connection, no electrical connection. There's no wire connected. It's just a parasitic connection. Sits on top of there, and then I use the 4 17-foot radials. I can't explain it to you. I'll link a video to how I came to this setup. But what I do know is that the SWR performance with that configuration is absolutely fabulous. Those are the 2 17-foot verticals that I have in my arsenal that are available to use. Now, I've also experimented a little bit with cheap stuff. So you all might recognize this little jewel right here. This is the, I think they call it the Lipozitsi or something. It comes under 100 different names. It's basically the Amazon cheap little feed point antenna. So it comes with a ground stake, which you can see here, a spike, which screws in, and then it's got its own little whip that extends up. I've used it. It does antenna, but is it my preferred vertical? Absolutely not. But for somebody that's on a really tight budget, I highly recommend it. It's a way to get your squigglies in the air, and that's what radio is all about, right? So for vertical antennas, and even for some wire antennas, a counterpoise or radials are certainly necessary. So I have pre-cut multiple sets of radials. So I have radials for 15 meters, 17 meters, 20 meters, 10 meters that I can use at any particular time when I get ready to. The wire antenna that I've kind of come to over time, and I have to say it's a fantastic product. So let's take a look at that. Okay, if you follow my channel at all and have watched any of my recent videos, you know that I'm an absolutely huge fan of this little number right here. This is the Spool Tenna, the Spool Tenna 4010 end-fed half-wave. It is a fabulous, fabulous product. Spool Tenna is a North Carolina, Cary, North Carolina home family-owned business. Husband and wife team, family operation, and they build a fabulous antenna. It is super well constructed, super well constructed. It's open source hardware, so they don't even keep it a secret as to what's going on inside. But it is a fabulous little end-fed. Over here is their high-vis wire that gives you an option of changing, using the high-vis wire and plugging it into the matching unit so that you can get a more visible wire so that you avoid people running into the wire and strangling themselves and tripping and falling or whatever. But I've got plenty of videos on the deployment and how to use the Spool Tenna, so we won't go into all that detail there. Suffice it to say, I love this thing. Now, there's one other category of antenna that I use, and we need to talk about now. So that is this. So that's this little number right here. This is what all of you are familiar with, I'm sure. This is a Hamstick. So this is a Shark Hamstick. Whoop. Let me see if I can get my camera to act right. So here's the Shark Hamstick. It's got a 3864 connection, which is not focusing at all right now. Okay, so here's the Shark Hamstick connection. It's a 3864 connector, which obviously can be used on any appropriate Hamstick mount on a vehicle. I have an aluminum body F-150, so let me show you how I deploy the Hamstick. So this is the unit that I use, or the mount that I use to deploy my Hamstick. So this is a suction cup mount. It's made by Look North Designs. I've done a video on it as well, which I'll link above. It has the 3864 connection on top, the SO239 connector on the bottom, or the PL259 for your coax, and I keep these little ABR Industries covers over those just to keep them protected in the weather. You can see here this is a ground strap that mounts here and then runs down between the truck bed and the cab, and then I'll show you where it attaches. So you may be able to see right there, it is clamped on the bolt that carries the leaf spring of the truck, and it makes for a great connection right there, and gets the ground plane involved from the truck for the, or even though the truck is a non-magnetic body, it's an aluminum body. So that's how you get around mounting a Hamstick or other vertical antenna on your aluminum body F-150. Let's get down to my conclusion. Where am I after 10.5 months of using all these antennas? Okay guys, after all that being said and looking at all the different antennas that I personally have used, there are so many more out there. Look, this is my arsenal of antennas that I'm always adding to, by the way. This is not to say this is all. There are so many antennas out there. It's a rabbit hole that you can go down really quick. And I think that's the one thing that I want to say to the new operator, maybe the young person that's getting into the hobby. Budget is an issue. I'm telling you, this hobby can be expensive if you let it get expensive, okay? We hadn't talked about radios. We'll touch on that, but in another video. But antennas can kind of get in your blood, and it's okay if they do, but it doesn't have to. What I'm talking about today is what is my advice to the new operator who wants to operate portable operations like POTA, Worldwide Flora and Fauna, Islands on the Air, you name the program. What do I think you should put your money into, your time into, and this is what I come down to. So I think you need 2 antennas. And that's all you need, in my opinion. And these are the 2 that I've come down to as the ones, if I had absolutely had to just load up on a road trip and I was going to go do a multi-park, multi-state road, these are the 2 antennas I'm taking. Now, what's the difference between the 2? Well, let's talk about the vertical. The vertical antenna is something you absolutely have to have in your arsenal, a self-supporting vertical antenna. Like the 17-foot from Chameleon, there's other manufacturers, there's other tripods, but this basic configuration, a tripod-mounted vertical antenna, there's the POTA Performer, the POTA Challengers, there's lots of such things out there, but I don't think you can do it for any less money than what I have here in front of you. The little Wolf River Coils tripod is very inexpensive. The Chameleon whip is less than $100. I think I'll put these numbers in the video. But this is a vertical setup that every POTA operator needs. Now, why do you need that? Well, you got to have a vertical that self-supports, because you never know. What are you going to have available to you when you get to the park? Are there going to be all these trees out here that you can throw a throw line up into and get a wire antenna in the air? Well, there might be, but there also might be park regulations that say, in spite of the fact that there are all these trees, you can't throw a rope up there. So you got to have a self-supporting antenna. And I was in Washington, D.C. on the National Mall, and I activated the Washington Monument using the very vertical antenna that we're looking at right now. And that's because there's no spikes in the ground at the National Mall. There's nothing thrown in trees. I had to have a self-supporting antenna, and the Wolf River Coil Chameleon combination got the job done. You might be at a beach. There are no trees. You could be out in the desert out west where there are no trees. There are just a lot of reasons why a self-supporting antenna should be in every POTA operator's arsenal. My opinion only. Now, that's number 2. What's number 1? Number 1 is this. My number 1 choice of an antenna is an end-fed Halfwave. Why? Because, unlike that, this is resonant on 40, 20, 15, and 10 meters. And when I say resonant, it has a beautiful SWR on all of those bands, less than 1.4 to 1 on all of those bands. You put it up. You can put it up in multiple configurations. You can do it as a sloper. You can do it flat. You can elevate the feed point. You can elevate the radiating element. You can set this thing up. You can set it up low to the ground for NVIS, near instance vertical skywave operation, if you want to do local operations on 40 meters, for example. So the wire end-fed Halfwave is, I think, the number 1 antenna that everyone should have. Now, you got to have a way to get it elevated, so you need to think about, how am I going to get one end up in a tree or on a mast? We hadn't talked about mast today. That's a whole nother topic for another video. But when it comes to end-fed Halfwaves as well, I've got to give a shout out to Spool Tenna. It's just a fabulous product. It's made with built-in strain relief. The wire that is used is just fantastic silicone wire. It does not kink or get wrinkled up. It's easy to deploy. You simply spool it out and then you wind it back in. If you know how to fish, you can use a Spool Tenna. It is just a fabulous product. The folks that make this thing are great people, great company, and I just highly recommend it. So there's kind of my summary about antennas. After 10.5 months of playing POTA, that's kind of what I've learned, is that you don't have to have a bunch of antennas. You need at least 2 good ones though. I recommend that vertical for the cases where you need it, and a good end-fed half-wave wins the day. Now there's other options out there. There's dipoles, there's off-center fed dipoles, I don't even want to go into it. These are the 2 that the Southern Ham highly recommends. So if you're new to POTA, either you're a ham that's been around a while or you're a new ticket holder and you're wanting to get into POTA or other portable operations, highly recommend these 2 antenna systems, end-fed half-wave and a self-supporting vertical. Tell me your thoughts. So those of you that have way more experience in POTA, give me some feedback. Put it in the comments. Be nice though. Southern Ham's a nice guy, so be nice. Don't be ugly. You may disagree with me, and I'm okay with that, but I certainly think this is the right way to go. I really do appreciate y'all going along. I hope you enjoyed this series. I'll do a couple of more follow-up videos on other gear that I think POTA operators, especially new POTA operators, need to consider for their kit. And we'll do that in some upcoming videos. So anyway, thank y'all for coming along. You know what to do. If you like the channel, hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. That really motivates me to get out here and make these kind of content videos for you. And I appreciate you coming along. 7-3.